pretty impractical.
While Batman is one of the most powerful superheroes in the DC universe, he often relies on his Bat family in order to deal with crime in Gotham. Alfred Pennyworth, who serves as Batman's butler, makes for an essential part of his family and is quite a superstar himself. Besides being a classically trained butler, Alfred was also an ex-agent of the British Special Forces and had many connections with various intelligence agencies. The wise old butler often got into the thick of a fight just to save Batman, and there were times when Alfred himself stepped up to a challenge and saved the day on his own. While Alfred has always been a guide for Batman, today we will try to explore those occasions where he was especially no less than a superhero. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. When he took on Superman, the Injustice Gods Among Us comics were set in an entirely different reality wherein Superman was a fascist dictator while Batman led a rebellion against him. Moreover, Superman had been working alongside Lex Luthor to develop a super pill called 5U93P. This pill could give Kryptonian strength and endless powers to anyone who consumed it, and Batman had gotten access to these pills. In one comic issue, Superman breaks into the Batcave and tortures Batman for the location of the super pills. While Batman reveals that he's completed an analysis of the pill and uploaded it to a remote survey, Superman starts torturing him for the pill's location. In the meantime, Alfred Pennyworth takes one of these super pills and becomes strong enough to be at par with Superman's Kryptonian strength. He then headbutts Superman and knocks him off his feet. Alfred was quite enraged at the Man of Steel for torturing Batman, and he decided to take matters into his own hands and punish Superman for all his evil actions. He punches Superman repeatedly until the superhero falls to the floor with a bloody nose and then declares that he does not get to hurt his family anymore. Alfred then delivers a final blow which throws Superman off his feet and causes him to crash into the floor. Alfred then abandons the Man of Steel in the Batcave and checks up on Batman to ensure he is feeling alright.
My liege.
Alfred,
Just doing my part, sir.
that wig is pretty impractical.
Alfred was an actual superhero in the Harley Quinn animated series. While Alfred has worked for Bruce Wayne his entire life, he did not stand on the front lines against the villains and usually worked from behind the scenes to assist the Dark Knight. However, the Harley Quinn animated series finally showed a new side of this wise old butler where he gets his own superhero identity as the Macaroni. Macaroni was actually a term used to describe the Englishmen who dressed in an androgynous manner, and Alfred got this name because of his English heritage. In the first season of the show, Bruce Wayne was trapped in Joker's tower and it even ended up in a coma for a very long time. While Batman could not protect Gotham, a group of villains came together and formed the Injustice League to take over Gotham. Alfred Pennyworth finally decides to step in and protect Gotham from these villains and soon gets famous as the Macaroni. When Batman eventually regains consciousness after many months, Jim Gordon tells him about this new superhero who's been dressing up in an androgynous manner and has been protecting Gotham in his absence. We also learn that Macaroni also carried a cane with him, along with many high-tech gadgets that helped him defeat the Injustice League. In the meantime, Alfred cares for Batman and even advises him to rest up and not venture out to fight crime for a while. However, Batman was skeptical about leaving Gotham's fate in the hands of a new superhero, and he even doubted if the Macaroni had experience dealing with criminals. He went against Alfred's orders and even asked Luscious Fox to design him a new suit of armor. Batman was not convinced that the Macaroni and Batgirl would be able to handle Gotham's worst criminals, and he decided to return to his responsibilities and protect Gotham. However, he was not fit enough to face powerful villains, and he ended up losing a fight against Bane. Batman was even cornered by Two-Face's followers who were on the verge of killing him. Finally, Alfred showed up in his new superhero persona along with Batgirl, and the two teamed up to beat these men until they lost their senses. Batman finally realized that his new vigilante was none other than his butler, and he felt a great sense of relief. The Macaroni continued to fight crime in further seasons of this series, and he was even seen running through the streets of Gotham in order to help the Bat family in the third season. While he did not appear extensively this season, it was still quite a treat to see Alfred play an active role in fighting crime in his unique superhero avatar. He fought vampires alongside Bane. During the Batman Eternal comic arc, Alfred Pennyworth once ended up in Arkham Asylum and even fought a bunch of vampires with an international super criminal named Bane. In a comic issue titled Buried Deep, Alfred was sent to Arkham after being affected by the Scarecrow's fear toxin. While Alfred was initially being treated at a hospital, this toxin was directly injected into his brain. There was no option but to move him to Arkham Asylum as his condition eventually worsened. When Arkham collapsed, Alfred ended up under a pile of rubble and he started hallucinating about his senior lieutenant from the time he was in in the army. This lieutenant forced Alfred to recite the Pyramid of Survival, which reinforced his belief in his will to survive, knowledge, and training. While Alfred tried his best to remain conscious, he knew he was dying. In a strange turn of events, Bane clears the area and gets rid of the debris that had fallen on top of Alfred. In the meantime, emergency crews rescue the survivors from within Arkham, while Batman also rushes to the scene to ensure that no dangerous criminals take this opportunity to escape the place. Batman works alongside Alfred's daughter, Julia Pennyworth, and asks her to find Alfred, Bane, and the Riddler. While Julia looks for her father, Alfred stumbles through the debris and tries to find out why Bane rescued him. Bane replies by saying that he recognized him as ex-military personnel and that this would serve as an advantage while making their way out of Arkham. While Alfred hesitates to team up with Bane, he decides to go ahead and trust Bane for a little while. This actually works out well for Alfred, as Bane knows the city's sewer system and he leads them through one of these tunnels. Bane also asks Alfred to keep quiet as they continue to pass through the tunnel when a group of vampire-like creatures corner them. These vampires were part of a cult organized by Deacon Blackfire, who'd assembled the city's poor people with the intention of taking over Gotham with them. Alfred takes the lead in fighting against these creatures, while Bane is hesitant about Alfred's combat abilities. However, he has no option but to trust Alfred, who manages to get rid of all these vampires. After using Bane, the cunning old fox gets rid of him. Once Alfred and Bane had gotten out of Arkham safely, Alfred decided that he had no use for Bane and that he should get rid of him. He led Bane towards a blank wall at the end of the tunnel, which was actually the entrance to a secret Batcave. Alfred then spoke a code word, which released a gas that knocked Bane out. The notorious villain then fell to the floor and lost consciousness, while Alfred went ahead through a more secure secret exit. He made his way to the satellite Batcave and sent a message to Batman and the rest of the crew to inform them that he had safely made it out of Arkham. Alfred did not hesitate to team up with unlikely partners to get out of a risky situation, and he was always one step ahead of them. While Bane had outsmarted Batman on many occasions, Alfred slyly managed to trick Bane into trusting him, which just goes to show how capable Alfred is. Alfred got the better of Deathstroke. Alfred once faced the infamous Slade Wilson, who also went by the name Deathstroke and was famously known as one of the deadliest assassins in the world. In the Outsiders comic storyline, Volume 4, Issue 18, Alfred visits one of his old friends, Nigel Benioff, who had been one of his companions from the time he worked with the British secret agencies. Nigel had been taking some form of an anti-aging drug, and Alfred decided to visit him and see the effects of this drug with his own eyes. While Alfred visits Nigel, Deathstroke sets his sights on Nigel and comes up with a plan to kill him. Nigel also had a dedicated bodyguard to take care of him in public, but Deathstroke managed to get past all security and kill Nigel. Alfred watched the scene from afar when Deathstroke killed Nigel, and he immediately contacted his forces and asked for assistance. Consequently, Alfred rushed to the scene. Although Nigel's bodyguard insisted that he did not need his help, Alfred frantically asked him to stay down and be safe. However, Deathstroke acted a little too fast and killed Nigel's bodyguard with no remorse for his actions. The cold-blooded assassin continued to shoot even after the man died when Alfred finally confronted him and angrily asked him if he needed to shoot a few more rounds of bullets just to be sure. Deathstroke does not take Alfred seriously, even referring to him as Bruce Wayne's errand boy. He dismissively addresses Alfred and tells him that he is at the wrong place at the wrong time while continuing to search Nigel's suit for a pen drive. Alfred initially tolerates Deathstroke's theatrics, but he finally decides to teach him a lesson when the villain wedges a sword through his victim's dead body. Alfred heads towards Deathstroke and punches him right in the face, declaring that he will not stand by and watch him butcher the dead man. Deathstroke retaliates by saying that every person in the world has to play the role of a butcher or the animal, and he even pulls out his gun and aims it at Alfred. He then asks Alfred to guess whether he would come under the category of the butcher or the animal when the rest of the Outsiders team shows up to help Alfred. While Deathstroke realizes that he has been cornered by a team of superheroes, Alfred smugly tells him that he is simply in the wrong place. Even without superpowers, Alfred is a badass with his shotgun. While Alfred has no superpowers, his military background makes him a pretty strong opponent. While he is trained in combat and military strategy, Alfred's choice of weapon is his trustworthy shotgun. In fact, Alfred is the only member of the Bat family who is even allowed to possess firearms, and he does not hesitate to put his shotgun to use. After working with the Wayne family for half of his life, he is quite protective of them and considers them his first priority. Alfred keeps a sharp eye on all the visitors at Wayne Manor and always keeps his shotgun ready in case of any danger. He also does not hesitate to open fire on anyone who poses a threat to Batman or the Waynes, and he even daydreams about a day when he can shoot the Joker in the head. Though Alfred primarily assists Batman from the shadows, he is always ready to fight at the front lines and use his shotgun. The time when Alfred dealt with Hush. During a storyline in Detective Comics, issue 850, Alfred once faced the villain named Hush when he had broken into Wayne Manor. Also known as Thomas Elliot, Hush was Bruce Wayne's childhood friend who decided to take him down due to jealousy. Alfred was busy with his chores at Bruce Manor when Hush broke in through the window and took him by surprise. However, Hush's face resembled Bruce Wayne's face at the time, and he even pretended to be Bruce and asked Alfred for help cleaning up his wounds. The butler helps Hush get back on his feet, but he seems to be aware of the fact that this is Thomas Elliot and not Bruce Wayne. He swiftly attacks the intruder and tells him that the real Bruce Wayne had already informed him about Hush's plan. While Alfred speedily attacks Hush, the villain manages to overpower Alfred and stab him in the chest. Hush then locates the grandfather clock that secretly leads to the Batcave and drags Alfred there with the intention of killing him. While he gets ready to shoot Alfred in the head, Batman comes crashing through a window and pushes Hush to the ground. The two of them get into a fight while Hush tries to guilt-trip Batman by telling him that his parents would be ashamed of him. While Batman and Hush get into a brawl, Alfred regains his balance and heads towards the Batcomputer. He activates some controls which causes the entire place to start shaking, and Hush locates him and decides to kill him once and for all. While Hush heads towards the Batcomputer to kill Alfred, he faced an obstacle in the form of a robotic T-Rex that was kept as a trophy by Batman. Hush finally kills the mechanical robot by shooting bullets at him, while Robin and Nightwing show up to help Alfred and Batman. Hush realizes that he is outnumbered and decides to leave before he ends up in more trouble. After dealing with Hush, Alfred finally returns to tend to Batman and treats his wounds as the comic ends. Becoming Batman for a night. While various characters have taken up the responsibility of being Batman over the years, not just anyone can fill the vigilante's shoes and bear all his responsibilities. However, Alfred Pennyworth is a fitting candidate to play the role of Batman, and his versatility makes him far more than capable of filling in for the vigilante. During the DC Rebirth story arc, Batman teamed up with a sibling duo named Gotham and Gotham Girl, who had moved to the city to fight crime. While these two metahumans had good intentions, their superpowers had impacted their well-being and made them mentally unstable. They doubted their reality and once even got into a conflict with Batman. Gotham then decided to trace the vigilante and fight him, but Batman was busy dealing with a different problem. Alfred then stood in as Batman for a while and faced the super powerful metahuman without hesitation. While Gotham scavenges the entire city in search of Batman, Alfred wears Batman's suit and heads downtown in order to face him. Gotham initially gets confused over Batman's new appearance and even states that the person before him is just a man wearing a mask. Alfred stands his ground and continues to pretend to be Batman until the vigilante finally shows up at the scene and takes over. Alfred swiftly runs away while a confused Gotham tries to make sense of what is going on. He shot at predators to save Batman. DC Comics were famously known for their crossover issues during their initial years, and various heroes from other popular franchises made an appearance in the DC universe. In one such instance, the aliens from the Predator franchise have launched an invasion on the DC universe. These predators were famously known for trophy hunting, and they started hunting down various DC heroes. One of these heroes was Batman, and the predators tracked his location and showed up at the Batcave. These predators turned out to be quite a challenge for Batman, and he struggled to get rid of them by himself. Finally, Alfred stepped into the fight with a shotgun and defeated all the predators on his own. In this way, Batman relied on Alfred when he could not defend himself and always trusted the wise butler to get him out of a dangerous situation. Alfred dared to fight the Batman who laughs. Alfred has never shied away from a fight with the Joker or any other villain, but he once faced a challenge when he had to fight the Batman who laughs. While Alfred had faced many villains on behalf of Batman, this particular fight was a lot more challenging since the Batman who laughs came from an alternate reality and embodied both Batman and the Joker's signature moves. Nevertheless, Alfred stood his ground against him and used his shotgun to fight this evil entity. Alfred cornered him and fired a few shots at him while also shouting at him to die and go back to the hell that he came from. While this evil form of Batman could not be killed with just a few gunshots, Alfred's rage was truly impressive as he was determined to defeat the villain. The evil Batman finds the situation amusing and even tells Alfred about the time a different version of Alfred killed him in his universe. However, this alternate reality's Alfred eventually hesitated to kill the evil Batman after he convinced him that a part of Bruce Wayne was still alive within him. Alfred did not get swayed by these stories and continued shooting at the evil Batman as he was determined to send him back to where he came from. Conclusion. While enemies often considered Alfred an easy target and underestimated his strength, he never shied away from a challenge and often took his opponents by surprise. He was a lot more than just a butler, and there have even been instances where Alfred even drove the Batmobile and stood up against great odds to defend Batman. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.